Welcome to episode 148 of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and this week I am joined by Brian and Kevin. We are three artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and all-round shit talkers, and each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you through Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Disney+, Amazon Prime. Wherever you get your content, we take a chunk of it, we watch it, and we talk about it. This week we are talking about the three-body problem, we're talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, we're talking about the new XMen cartoon. We're talking about a wide range of nerdy and film and televisual content. Here's the rub though. Kevin's audio dropped out about an hour in, so we lose him. And we lost that recording. So he had to start recording again from a very late point in the podcast. This I'm going to be honest with you. This podcast is auditorially a little ropey. So you have myself and Brian talking for the first while, and then Kevin joins us again. I have no idea why Brian sounds like he is in a well, but for the sake of making sure that we hit our weekly deliverable, that we put a podcast out every week that you can listen to and hear us talk our nonsense, I am putting this episode up. I hope you enjoy it. It is a bit silly. It's a good chat, it's just the audio is a little wobbly, so apologies for that. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, heading over to iTunes, rating, reviewing, liking, subscribing. All of those good things really help us out. On top of that, you can follow us at The Endless Cast, where we put up art to go with each episode. All that being said, let's get into the episode. Believe it or not, I'm hitting record. It's time to have a chat with the boys. Believe it or not, I never saw the greatest American hero. I don't know the theme song. Believe it or not, I only know the first bit of this. Anybody ever see that? Are they trying to make that a movie? I feel like that's it's kind of Green Lantern, as far as I understand it. Like an alien race gives him a super suit, but he loses the instructions book.
Was the song written for the show? Or did they... Because the song was...
Yeah, well, I mean, I more heard the song from like sitcoms and from Johnsy singing it at me. Cause
yeah, but you know it on the radio too. You know it from the radio.
I don't think I do. Didn't listen to much radio.
Yeah, no, Radiohead.
No. We call it the wireless, and it was a grand old time. You know, you gather round with Papa, and of course Mr. Wells was putting on one of his productions most evenings. Wonderful performer was Mr. Wells. And then we got invaded by Mars. It was very odd, very disconcerting evening. Turns out it was all a jape.
Hey, do we want to start things on a negative note?
On a which note?
On a ranting note.
Yeah, go for it. Let's rant.
Let me just bring something here. I don't like science fiction. I don't like sci-fi. I really don't like it. But there's plenty of science fiction stuff I do like, but I just could never describe myself as a sci-fi fan. I've always known that. There's just something about science fiction just repulses me. I read about it and I'm like, fuck off with this. No, take this away. I don't want this. The three-body problem.
Okay.
Netflix.
That's funny. I've seen that's a Netflix TV show, and only this morning I saw that is a book on a shelf that I have here, and I was like, oh, I got to read that. I haven't seen the show. I don't know what it's about. This should be...
I read about the book
right
years ago because I heard people raving about it back in 2014. 2014, I think. Thought everybody was talking about this book. Bama was raving about it. Book reviewers were saying this is sensational. It's the best science fiction. So maybe that would be the one. Maybe I should check that out. And the book has been adapted by two dudes behind Thrones. I thought it was going to be a film. I thought it was going to be a Netflix film. It's a TV show. And it has Liam Cunningham in it. But yeah, when I first looked the book up 10 years ago, I was just like, Not for me. The three-body problem. It's a thing in physics and maths to do with to determine the acceleration and path and trajectory thing when three bodies of mass all starting from zero and are moving at like angles and rotations. It's trying to predict the acceleration and the path and stuff.
Okay.
So that's what the title refers to. And the book, I won't spoil too much about the plot of the book, but I'm going to spoil a bit of it. I'm going to spoil it. And the show. But now, to be fair, this is a description from the wiki page about where the plot heads.
Right.
So, it's not written in the style of the book, to be fair to the book, but at the same time, I can't imagine you writing this in any way that would make me want to read any further. So, are you ready? Here is a description from the book. Where is it? Okay, here we go. The Trisolarans, from Trisolaris, means tree suns. Trisolarans possess extremely advanced picotechnology that allows them to create 11-dimensional supercomputers called sophons, which, when viewed in 3 dimensions, occupy the volume of a proton. 2 of these sophons have already been laboriously manufactured and sent to Earth. Trisolarans do not have faster-than-light travel for spacecraft. They are able to launch individual sophons of faster-than-light travel, where they have the power to cause hallucinations, spy on any location, transmit the information gathered to Trisolaris using equipment, quantum entanglement, and disrupt the operation of particle accelerators. No thanks. What a load of nonsense.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with your book. Nothing to do. That's like science fan fiction. Picotechnology, 11-dimensional supercomputers called sophons. Just fuck off with that. Get out of here.
Okay. I'm fine with it.
Show in the book is about someone. It's nonsense.
Okay.
They send a message to outer space. It reaches a planet. The planet tells them, don't send any more messages to us because we'll figure out where you are and we'll invade you. And the person says, I'm going to do it anyway because I hate this planet. I hate my government. I hate everybody on it. I'm going to do it anyway. And then the next time they make contact, they say, yeah, our invasion force is on the way, but it's going to take 450 years to reach Earth. So then 3 different factions form on Earth, like ones that are going to welcome them, ones that are going to betray Earth, ones that kind of want to survive, ones that want to make a pact with them. And the reason they're invading is because they live on a planet with 3 suns. And the weather, the seasons can change like that because of their position relative to the 3 suns. So in a minute they can go into like super, super cold or a firestorm, essentially. But they also possess the ability to like dehydrate themselves and go underground, essentially, when the weather's in extreme conditions. But then somebody else has to come along and react. This is nonsense. This is the dumbest, stupidest shit. They possess the technology to do all this, but they like, just... Does anybody not have a problem with this technique?
For me, yeah, I'd need to see the... I don't know, I need to see the story end of it. Like the sci-fi gubbins, like that sort of like preservative hibernation stuff, we see that in like insects and shit. So somebody's like been watching their David Attenborough and tried to figure out how a species might evolve in such a way that they survive on a planet where the environment changes rapidly. But like that's all background bollocks to like what's the fucking story. And the story is it about the people on Earth or is it about the aliens?
About the people on Earth.
Okay.
The trilogy is called Remembrances.
Oh, there's 3 of them. I'm out. That's where you lost me. It's like I was like fully prepared to read the book downstairs that's on my shelf, but it's like if I got to read 3 books, fuck off. Like, I'm
just not on board with this type of thing. Like, They can create 11-dimensional supercomputers.
Sure.
But they don't have faster than light travel. Like just. Also, they can receive a message from Earth, but they can't find other inhabitable. We've already seen other inhabitable planets.
But we can't get to them.
We just can't. We can't get them. But I mean, these people then, these Trisolarans, can surely get there if they have the means to get here.
But they can't get here.
If they have the means to send supercomputers across, like they.
Yeah. Okay. I can't. I cannot. I will just have to accept your indignation because I haven't read the thing and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of just crazy bollocks in some of the sci-fi shit I've read, and it's just like you're kind of just like glossing over whatever bollocks explanation is in place for something, you know, or at least that's me. I'm just like, cool, yeah, a wizard. So moving on to, like, are they?
Wizard would be better.
A wizard would be better for you.
Not even that. Like usually when magic is written into something, they've written rules around it. You know, like. But
we can accelerate particles to faster than light, but we can't travel faster than light ourselves. Like that's, but like you're saying that they've got particles that they can accelerate to faster than light. So that's
no. They have supercomputers. They have 11-dimensional supercomputers. What's that?
Okay.
What are they talking about? What is that?
That's fair.
That just sounds like somebody read a fucking
an article,
science journal.
I've read an article.
Just get out.
Did you watch the show? Was it good?
Yeah.
Garbage. Okay. All right. Well,
boring. Super boring.
I don't know if this is
terrible casting.
I saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire yesterday. It was fine. It was fine top to bottom. I think the thing is...
Fine isn't good.
Fine isn't good. Fine is... It's just an exercise in filmmaking. Like people will go and see it. People will come out the other side of it going, that was a Ghostbusters movie. It's not funny enough at any point to be funny. It's not threatening enough at any point to be... you know, scary. There's a point where the Ghostbusters
isn't even that good.
Well, that's a secondary. I am not oblivious to the fact that Ghostbusters is pretty straight line, 90-minute filmmaking that has a lot of nostalgia with.
When it came out.
Yeah. It's not recapturing the magic, it's recapturing the money.
I'd be all for like a new Fish. Which I thought Afterlife was going to be. Just fucking, like, the thing is, we've all got, like, and I say we all, I'm talking about the generation that came up after Ghostbusters. You know, shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark and things like that, you know? Who doesn't love a good, cozy, spooky
who doesn't love being spooked?
Story. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be a horror, it doesn't have to be anything other than paranormal investigation.
Yeah, the thing of it.
We all love a story where that place is something happened there. People are checking that, and instead we just got special effects.
So you're saying that it could be smaller stories rather than these big. Everything's always an end of the world story with the Ghostbusters.
It definitely shouldn't be end of the world.
Every one of these stories actually has been it's trying to end the world or destroy a city, and it should just be, at least one of these should be a house is haunted.
Set it in New York. It's New York. It's people calling a service like they would firefighters, and it's a bunch of people showing up who don't really know what they're doing, but there's some spooks and some fun along with it.
Well, that like
so much of the charm of the first one as well is that it's locations. You say Ghostbusters, you picture the house, you picture the station, you picture them running through the streets, clearly on location. That's what it is. That's what gets people. It's libraries. It's spooky locations. One of the best scenes in it is them.
And it's the first fucking scene.
Yeah, that is great.
That ghost comes back. We get a cameo from that ghost because we needed that.
spooky locations, spooky settings, New York, best country.
Yeah. It's full of fucking cameos as well. Like, so they go back to the library and there's a guy standing on the steps and it's obviously the same guy from 1984, 40 years older. Peck is back. Like, it's fine. The original Ghostbusters are there. There's some new, like, at least it's a new fucking thing. Like, the Ghostbusters Afterlife was just back to Gozer from the first movie. The Paul Feig one with Melissa McCarthy and Kirsten Wiig and everyone else like that. I enjoyed that film. I know people shit on it. I enjoyed that film. I think the visuals of the ghosts have this like real sort of like saturated, the color and the visual effects of it are fun. There's some dodgy shit in there for sure where it's like, oh, we're just on a green screen while there's clouds around them. I would have liked a little more whatever, but there's some lovely shots in there. There's some weird moments where they cut out the whole musical number, but now I'm talking about like what did they call it? That wasn't just called Ghostbusters, was it?
I think it was, yeah.
The Ghostbusters? I don't know. But like, okay, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I was just annoyed that it was just Gozer again. I was like, come on, do something different. They used the original Ghostbusters in it very, very clearly, like nobody wants to move. Everybody's old, which is fair. We've got a fair amount of that scenario again. Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd standing in a line, staring towards the camera, and then they get pinned against a wall and then they stand back on their mark again. So there's not a lot of moving around, which is again fair enough. Kumail Nanjiani in it. I like Kumail. He's getting to hop into all of his favorite properties from his youth. The whole new generation are there. Like it's trying to do things, but it just didn't grasp me or grab me. And I think the thing is, the first movie is just a 80s piece of fucking nostalgia if you were raised with it. Maybe kids will love this. There's a little bit of the like expanded Ghostbusters, like they've got a research division now and there's other people in there working and testing things on ghosts, and they've got a little ghosty prison where they're trying to understand ghosts. James Acaster's in it in a really sort of like significant part. Like he's around a lot and I was like glad to see it. I really like James Acaster. I'm happy for him. I think he's funny. So I'm happy for him to see him. Like there was a moment where I saw Peck in the trailer and realized that Acaster could have a passing resemblance to that man because he's got a little sort of strawberry blondie ginger thing. I was like, oh, is he going to be like, I could see him being like the mayor's assistant and being a real like sort of awkward fuddy-duddy British type. So I was happy to see they made him a Ghostbuster. Now he's basically Ghostbusting Q, to use a James Bond reference. He's the guy in the lab testing things out. He's a little bit Egon-y, but he's a little livelier. They've got Egon's daughter doing a lot of that as well. She's really good. She's actually like I liked her in the first movie. I really should look at who the hell that person is. She was very good. Look, check it out. I think they just missed. They missed. The end of that is the reveal where we get our original Ghostbusters back, and it's the kids on their own up until the last minute when our original Ghostbusters come back to help, and they kind of come out of the shadows in the last moment, and it's like they did that in such a way where they're chasing back to the base and being followed by ghosts. And what I really wanted in that moment was a really like triumphant like, wait, what's happening? And then like somebody steps out of the shadows here and somebody's up on a gantry and somebody's up on the corn silo and they're fucking working together as a team that have been doing this for 30 years, and we see the Ghostbusters be fucking badasses. And instead what we got was three old men stepping out from behind a car going, we're here. And then they get knocked over by a wind and they stand back up and the little girl defeats everybody. That is my recollection of that movie. Fun, but just like you missed a moment to make these guys kind of epic. But that's me. I'm sure there's another one of these coming. It's going to make enough money to do that. I'm sure it is, yeah. People like a Ghostbusters movie. It'll be fine. They'll do at least one more. We'll get the trilogy. Paul Rudd will bring people in. The other thing I did was I watched 6 seasons of Peaky Blinders in 6 days. I enjoyed the show. I can see why people like it. I can see why dickheads latched onto it in a big bad way. I definitely think it contributed to Brexit. This sort of romanticizing of the independent Brit standing on their own 2 feet. I think it's funny that an Irishman contributed to the dissolution of the British or the United Kingdom. I think it definitely tried to walk that back a bit in its later years, because I see stances taken in season 5 and season 6 that are a little more like unity driven and more like, I don't think the show is.
Well, that's the thing. Like the guy who wrote it was very much a working class labor type person. You know?
Yeah,
that's where he's from. It's interesting that the wrong message gets taken from it. Where it's like, let's recapture where glory is.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Like, I think having watched all of it now, my take is that, like, I am a fan of Peaky Blinders. I will not go into the world and tell people that I am a fan of Peaky Blinders. I will not suggest people watch this show. I think that it's just
pretty trashy.
It's pretty trashy, but I think it's kind of Rick and Morty'd itself to the point where I don't like its fan base. But the show's pretty good, and I have time for Cillian Murphy. There's definitely a moment at the end of season 4 where he becomes an MP and he's walking down the steps of Parliament with his family behind him and bright light and big triumphant music, and I'm like, they didn't think they were doing season 5. This is a moment where, like, they didn't think they were doing season 5.
Now they're coming back for a film.
Just saw that headline this morning that it was confirmed. They've been like they've been dancing around it for the last few months, but like it felt inevitable. But yeah, the finale of season 4 ends, like, the narrative gets wrapped up 20 minutes before the end of the episode, and then there's 20 minutes of fucking around, and he goes on holiday and has a mental breakdown because he can't not be doing something, and he becomes an MP at the end of it and walks down the stairs, and it's like, right, they didn't think they were getting season 5, or they didn't think they were doing season 5, very clearly, but I like the show a lot, and that will be the extent of my...
Have you ever seen Boots or any kind of department store the gifts for men section, and they've got like shaving kits and stuff, or like
by order of the Peaky Blinders, and
Peaky Blinders.
Shaving balm by order of the good skin, and wear a fucking flat cap by order of the mustache group. Like, it's masculinity is embarrassing.
How do we get men to watch that, please? Let's put Peaky Blinders on it.
Blokes. You know, Tommy Shelby, he may have been underground during World War One, but he washed his face using a good moisturizer and exfoliation. Like, lads, just fucking...
I would be so insulted.
Yeah, I bet Conor McGregor loves Peaky Blinders.
Speaking of...
Yeah, go for it. That's me handing you the segue.
Have you watched it?
I haven't. I actually, you sent a message into the group yesterday as I had got off the train into town and seen a building just outside Torres Strait Station where they had like draped a billboard, like it was like a sheet across the corner of it, advertising, you know, Amazon Prime's Roadhouse. I love Doug Liman as a filmmaker. I've liked a lot of his films. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I saw a few clips and the trailer of this was pretty good. You said this is trash.
Lyman has said that this is his best film.
Whoa,
it's
okay.
Staggering. It is not.
That's got to be him just trying to sell it at a certain point, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
At a certain point when you've made garbage. Having made garbage, I understand that you need to fold in on yourself and sell the thing. Yeah. It's like, I've spent someone's money to do this. Christ, I hate myself. Let's keep moving. How is Roadhouse 2024?
1989 is so much fun. It should be bad, and it just gets by on charm and like a lot of genuinely good action, and just a fun setting as well. That somebody said, "What if westerns but with bouncers. And what if the bouncer was, a Ronin, kind of a samurai? What if he was this philosophical kind of person? It's like, yeah, why not? Hey, let's give him a badge for his philosophy. Why not? So he's this Mercedes driving bouncer. It's in a world where bouncers, it's like John Wick, except instead of hitmen, it's bouncers. And it's...
Yeah, that's it.
So silly.
They brought in a doormat.
Swayze's great. The action is really decent.
And it's one of those films that I found at 11 o'clock at night on RTE2 with no idea what it was. I was just suddenly like, it's like playing a slide guitar and chicken wire. Oh, there's a fight.
Action tropes. Like if somebody said cheesy 80s action, but you wanted it to be good, you wanted it to be watchable. Roadhouse is that. It's all the tropes of the 80s action film. But it's just genuine entertainment. Really like that film. It's got some insane dialogue. I used to fuck guys like you in prison. What? The guy says that, and it's supposed to be, I don't know, it's simultaneously funny and horrifying. And his response to that is, you are such an asshole. Like, it's just, there's a lot to love. There's a lot.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. When you meet somebody like that, you don't necessarily need to meet that sort of chaos with wit. You know, it's just like, you are...
homophobic.
Wow. Fuck.
It's a great film.
Wow.
Before you even get to Sam Elliott. Glorious taco. Which is glorious. Anyway.
Yeah, Sam Elliott's in great form in that movie.
So it's basically the Western,
Doug Liman's.
The samurai film have a lot of crossover. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and we've seen that with like the Magnificent Seven and the Seven
also,
Samurai.
What was which one of the
time and time again
Dollars trilogy was a remake of Yojimbo?
Fistful,
yeah. So much so that
I only just watched Yojimbo recently.
Yeah. So like they're basically the
beautiful film,
same genre, and a lot of Roadhouse, and it's great. And there's a lot of conventions and tropes and kind of story beats that need to happen in one of those stories. They all happen in Roadhouse. And along comes this 2024 remake with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, which I very much believe is more of a McGregor vehicle. This is back before all the stuff with him happened. I think they said, how do we get this guy? This guy.
How do we get him into movies?
He's sold so many pay-per-view tickets. He's got all this cross demo appeal. How do we put him in a film? And somebody said Roadhouse. We put him in Roadhouse, give him a smaller role. We pay an actual movie star a boatload to appear in it, and we've got a Roadhouse. Like within the first 20 minutes of the remake, a young girl says to Gyllenhaal when he shows up, like, "Oh, this is like basically the plot of a Western." Like they really fucking lampshade the thing. And you go, okay, well at least they know what film they're making. And then the next hour happens without them doing any of the things that would happen in one of those stories. A full hour goes by and there's not even a fight scene. And it's just fucking dull. It is boring. And then McGregor shows up and there's one or two moments McGregor has. He's just being himself. He's just doing a line, kind of like a Dublin scumbag would, and it seems authentic.
But to be fair to him, because
he's got no.
What I was going to say is his diction is odd at the best of times. Anyway, I don't know at what point it was. This is the one thing I would love to know about him is somewhere along the line, I feel somebody told him, some elocution person, some career coach, somebody said, slow every word down. And he does. He is a lot, like, it's always slowing each word down and being very precise, because he's got an accent, and if he talked really fast, you'd lose him in it. And I think he knew, like, one of the smart things that McGregor did, or McGregor's camp coach or otherwise did, was make him slow the fuck down when he talks to a point that he's very clearly understood.
I think that's a mistake. We should just speak clearly.
Okay. I know what you're saying.
But because, yeah, like, he's gotten this far without people understanding. People don't need to understand. They don't. And if you do get into his rhythm and you start to pick it up, then, like, when he's being threatening in the book, when he's speaking at his normal speed, he actually does seem authentic and kind of intimidating.
Right.
Because he's probably said those things.
Yeah.
So, then when he slowed, I can't remember the line, but there's a point where he walks into the bar for the first time, and he says something along the lines of, like, "This is my bar now, or I'm going to make this place mine." And he says it in such the line read is bizarre. So he goes from being like, he suddenly becomes like a D4 comeback. It's just it's weird. It's such a weird line. But on top of all that, film's terrible and the action is terrible. A lot of the time, something like this can get by with good action. This stuff, there's. I was talking to my brother about it, and the plot is basically the plot of Reacher, the first one.
Okay.
Which is also the plot of Roadhouse to an extent.
The property development.
Yeah. And also, Reacher is very much a Dalton, Yojimbo type character as well. He just goes from town to town, solving problems, moving on. And the first scene that looks like it's going to be a fight scene and ends up not being a fight scene, it basically rips off the Reacher scene outside the
I've seen clips
bar
of this.
with the guys, where he gives everybody the opportunity to back away before he puts them in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know? And it's ripping off Reacher, but that's always the fun.
Is that scene not good?
Like, it's
really?
Terrible. He literally slaps them and it's over.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, it's not even a fight scene.
Because I've seen it get to the slaps, but I always
quick.
assumed that it turned into something else.
He slaps them, he dodges 2 punches, and that's it. It's over. It's not even a fight scene. It's terrible. And then there isn't another fight scene until he faces McGregor. It's
What?
so much nothing happens. Yeah, it's terrible.
That's mental.
It's
You know what's frustrating? I know you're going to say I don't, but like,
just watch the original.
you see, I'm going to have to watch this.
You are, and that's the other thing. If you've seen the original and you like it, and you want to see how bad this can be, go watch it. If you're looking to be entertained and you want something good to watch something. But yeah, I understand you do have to watch.
Yeah.
Did you watch XMen?
I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. I need to download that.
You watched 6 seasons of Peaky
I don't have to download that. I just hit play on fucking Netflix here. I'm doing the same thing with The Crown. I'm in season 2 of The Crown after a day and a half. Like, I'm trying to draw a bit more, and yeah, I'm just consuming. Passive consumption is happening at the moment. Sorry, I've got the sniffles now. Ghostbusters, Peaky Blinders. I was in London at the weekend. I don't know that we talked about this on podcast. I did a few things there that were fun. I went to Police Cops, which is playing at the Southwark, Southwark, how would you say that? Southwark?
Who knows?
Southwark Playhouse.
It could be a Smithwick situation.
Southwark.
Could be
Southwark.
Southwark.
Southwark sounds all right. Southwark Playhouse. And Police Cops is something that I saw in Edinburgh. It's 6 months later. They're, developing as they go. There's new things in it. It's a tiny theatre. I say it's a tiny theatre. It's big enough theater, but it's great. It's a great show. It's a really fun, Naked Gunny kind of spoof comedy.
I would say if you watch Roadhouse and you need to see how they went wrong with this, then watch it. But if you've never seen either, skip it and watch it.
Yeah, fair. I heard loads of people like kind of just saying how like Conor McGregor is like terrible in it, and basically he's like doing his best like transition year acting. That it's brutal.
I could even see him being effective in it because there's one or two lines where he's like innocent.
Yeah,
it seems like he's just tapped into being himself.
Yeah, this is easy.
Anything that's outside of his, let's say, range.
Fair.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He's absolutely huge. And then to see him beside Gyllenhaal in those junkets and stuff, he looks like he's shrunk. Like he's gotten on gear or something. But like he's
gone on
he's
gear.
Massive. Yeah. He's absolutely massive and crazy.
Yeah, fair.
It's crazy what drugs can do. It's insane.
Yep.
Insane. We can literally make like super soldiers effective, you know? In terms of muscle mass alone, maybe not so much performance.
I know what you're saying.
In terms of size, we have drugs that will get people in shape and have a very small period of time. But yeah, if you've seen the original, watch this out of some sort of
more curiosity. Yeah.
If you're looking for something to watch, if you have Prime, both films are on Prime. Just watch the original.
Fair.
Police Cops.
Police Cops, London. A very fun show. It's incredibly dense. I would recommend anybody see it. It's so fun. It is like the Naked Gun on stage. It's 5 actors. And they're just working so hard. Every time somebody walks on stage, says a one-liner and gets to the other side of the stage, the next thing they do is a costume change and then comes straight back on stage as a different character. And they do that for 2 solid hours. There's a point where a guy is playing he's playing like a very Naked Gun kind of like character. He's the undercover cop who's been living in a trash can, and he's just like a naked guy wearing a trash can hung around his shoulders on suspenders. And he walks off stage, and somebody then goes, "Your partner's going to be Harrison. He's a rogue cop that's retired, and you need to get him out of retirement." And as they announce Harrison, a door in the backstage slides open and gets hit with light. Smoke comes out behind it, and he's like posed as like a dramatic, like they're talking about him as if he isn't there, but they're talking about him and we're getting this visual. But the guy has had to run in, take the trash can off, get a shirt, a jacket, a hat, trousers, shoes, a cigarette on, run behind the stage, get into the door, hit that pose, go back in, ditch everything, get back in the trash can and come out again in the space of 3 minutes, maybe, less. And it's that pace for those guys for 2 solid hours, and 5 of them, and there's 2 people listed as understudies, and
they should just hire more people, and they wouldn't have that problem.
The thing is, it's the magic trick of them doing it that makes it as much fun as it is. When they were in Edinburgh, I found out afterwards that I had seen an understudy. I had seen the guy playing the villain was a different guy. He was one of the understudies, right? The next day, one of my friends went to see it, and he said, "No, that wasn't played by an understudy today. But the guy that played Harrison was played by an understudy." There's one understudy, and he has to know all 3 male roles.
Oh, jeez.
And it's phenomenal. Like, they must all know each other's roles because it's so carefully fucking orchestrated between one costume change and prop shift, and it's like, well, what's going on? And then like a guy gets on a rolly chair and like mimes like he's got a steering wheel, and then the lights come down, and somebody comes out and they've got a wind blower in his face, and 2 people are like rolling the wheels or rolling the chair around the place, so it's like a driving montage while he's thinking about his career. It's so fun. It is so fun, and I would advise people to go and see it. I would advise people in Ireland. I would say to you guys, if you had the time and the money and wanted a weekend in London, go and make it a part of your weekend. It's class. It's so fun. I love it to bits. The other thing I did was I went to a recording of QI.
Oh yeah,
which was boo. I will leave this out. I love QI.
I've never really watched it, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm talking to the wrong audience.
But I'm happy for you.
It was wonderful.
I say that as someone who's watched a lot of.
Yeah, I like QI
because I'd only ever seen an episode like once a month or something, and then they added them to. I watched a few of them. This only works in snippets. TikTok.
I think the thing is, it works.
Whole episodes are rubbish, and it's full of so much misinformation. When the premise is fucking correcting misinformation, and then so many of the facts that they say, actually, that's true. The show should be called Well Actually, and Well Actually, it's mostly wrong. Fuck that show. Yeah.
All right.
I'm scared.
I had a lovely time. It was very nice. There was Zoe Lyons, Alan Davies, Rob Brydon, and a Welsh-Spanish comedian called Ignacio something. And of course, Sandy Toksvig was there as the host. And it was all very efficiently done. It ran quite long, like at an hour and a half. It's a long episode of QI. But
you got your money's worth?
You get your money's worth. Now then, to do a Jimmy Savile impression.
Why?
I don't know, because I just heard Louis Theroux do it earlier and it's in my head.
He was in England, so that's how.
Yeah, that's it. You go to the BBC and you're haunted by the ghost of Jimmy Savile.
That's the plot of the new Ghostbusters film. Craig called home to London because BBC Studio is haunted by the ghost of a pedo.
It would work with the new Ghostbusters movie. You take all of the cast that are under 18 and you put them into the BBC studios, and the older Ghostbusters use this.
Too far.
Not for inclusion in the podcast was the idea that we were going to Torture Garden after.
I think that should definitely be. It's the most interesting thing anybody said this morning.
So we were going to Torture Garden right after QI, one of Britain's most wholesome institutions, and I knew this. I didn't know this for a fact, but I also knew this was most likely. You're not walking into the BBC with a backpack that isn't thoroughly searched.
Okay.
So,
you were hoping they'd search it that.
I was not hoping they'd search the bag. I just had to be resigned to the fact that I'm going to step up to a table, open a bag, and go, right, well, that's the latex dress. Those are the tiny shorts. That's the manacles. That's the collar. Those are the whips.
This has
and just
to be.
like this.
It has to.
And I'd have to go. Yeah, we're like. And in fairness to I had a little bag, and he's like, "What's in that?" And I went, "Cuffs, collars, ankle bracelets," and he was like, "Yeah, no worries. Like I've seen all sorts." And then Marika walked away, and he stopped me and went, "All right, are the cuffs metal? Or are they leather? What are we dealing with?" Like there was like follow up questions once Marika had left.
That's so funny.
And it was funny
There's some wordplay there that wholesome institution and institute of holes or something.
Oh. It's crass. It's
not crass.
It's too crass for me.
It needs to be workshopped. Okay.
It's too crass for you.
Yeah, nothing's too crass for you.
What was funny was standing in the line as well ahead of it, and I was just like, "This bag's searched, right? You know that." And she went, "Well, if you're worried, just take the backpack and ditch it in a bush." And I was like, "Leave an unattended bag in a bush outside the BBC." That thing would be detonate. Oh, it's not like you're a terrorist. It's like an Irishman leaving.
in the most surveilled city outside of China, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
God, you're hilarious.
QI was very fun. We then had a good night, and we got back to her house around about 8 a.m. we were drunk, kind of delirious, fell asleep for about 4 hours, went to a saloon cocktail event that we had pre-booked because we're not, like, we paid £45 to go to that thing. So it was like, we got to go to this. But it was also like, let's go to this, but then go straight home and get some fucking sleep. But once you're there and you're 4 tequila cocktails in and it's Paddy's Day, we're just like, well, we're perked up now, right? So we, Googled Irish bars and...
Sounds like a great time.
Strolled through the city to find an Irish bar, and then got back to her place, ordered a pizza, put on Irish Wish with Lindsay Lohan.
We did the exact same thing.
Fell asleep 15 minutes into Irish Wish. Woke up at 1 a.m. Tried to wake her up to say, let's go to bed. I learned that waking up Marika is tough, and she's combative. Like eyes closed asleep, and was just like, Aiden, why are you doing this? And it's like,
Yes.
But like once she woke up, she's like, oh, it's 1 a.m, let's go to bed. But there's like an unconscious version of like, why are you doing this?
Hilarious. But that sounds like a pretty crazy but good Paddy's Day for sure.
Yes, yeah, it's absolutely fucking exhausting, but it was a blast.
Yeah, amazing. Did you watch the new X-Men cartoon?
I haven't yet. No,
I
I haven't been running to watch it either.
I did. It's very much like the 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
So
I watched
from a story point
maybe 10
of
minutes.
view, it's it's a nice continuation. I just wish it was animated.
Better animated.
Yeah.
It kind of like you try and watch the 90s cartoon, like it was.
I didn't like it
so
as a
bad.
kid. I didn't like I liked the stories, like I said, but I knew nothing about animation, and I knew it was bad. It's like these are wonky drawings.
Yeah, I just loved seeing the X-Men on TV.
Same.
And
yeah.
That carried me through it. But I was always looking at it, trying to like go, okay, we'll turn a blind eye to the fact that prop is 3 times bigger than it should be, and that character's tiny now.
I must send you the shot I sent Kev last week, because I was watching a recap of the entire 5 seasons, and there's a shot from season 3, I think, that just makes no sense. I'll send it to you.
Please do.
It's
I will probably see it and go, I know that exact fucking shot, but like
it's from an episode I actually gave out about before. It is the orphanage one with Scott leaving the X-Men and going to the orphanage, and it's just another shot in that episode that I had forgotten it. It's truly terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like it was. They were doing the best they could.
Were they?
With the budget they had, I guess. Like Marvel's come a long way. They've look. I don't know if the new show has done this, but like the old show is definitely trying to use the like extreme blacks of the comics.
Yeah, the new one doesn't do that as much.
Yeah, I noticed that in the theme.
There are people who think the new one looks worse than the old one. They think the old one looks bad or looks good. Like they think all that black, and they think it like that bothers me.
That's also I've seen people. Well, you know, welcome to the world. But it's I also saw people that give it out about Gambit being gay or bi.
That's the best thing about it.
It's just like I don't know, Brian, did you send me the TikTok or someone sent to me? I can't remember. But they're going out about Gambit. It's just like all these fucking people giving out about Gambit, blah blah. It's like he dates a woman he can't even touch. That's the gayest thing I've ever heard. You know, but it's like why?
Yeah, there's like the character of the Southern dandy. It does lend itself towards a little bit of like handkerchief, handkerchief fluffing.
He's a Cajun. That's not quite the same.
I know, but still, he's not quite the Southern dandy, but he's
what better
of
beard
the world
than a girlfriend you can't actually touch? You know?
I know. Oh shucks! How do you?
I mean, I would
love her.
Kiss you on the mouth right now if I could. But God, I can't. So,
yeah. God knows, I want to touch all of the parts of a lady, but
Your sandy boobies.
I can't. There's like, we're all agreed this is the best one, right? So I just have to rest assured that I've got the best one, even if I can't touch her.
Yeah. Funny. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I'm the most heterosexual.
Most definitely.
Um,
but I want to watch it. I will be excited to watch it. I just haven't had the time this week, unfortunately. But yeah, I will watch it.
It's mad that there's stuff in it. This is purely nitpicking stuff, but it's also just... They're trying to make Cyclops cool, which I'm all for. Long since one of my favourite X-Men. But there's a part where they...
Seems to be working.
It is working, but... This is just a nit... It's not even a nitpick, it's just a funny observation more than anything. But they get attacked, they're falling out of the Blackbird, and everybody's being saved by someone that can fly, except Cyclops, and he just is like swooping down to the ground.
Now, I thought this, I'm going to see if you articulate it the way I thought it when I saw it, but go on.
Are we talking about him like stopping himself from falling by shooting his eye beams into the ground? Yeah? Yeah. Has anybody given a thought to his neck muscles?
That's exactly what I was I was just like, have you ever tried to stop yourself from accelerating using your neck? 9 meters a second at the default rate of gravity, you're just going to dead stop with your neck?
If I had something solid enough to stop me from falling, I wouldn't attach it to the front of my face without snapping my fucking neck backwards, you know? He's going to stop himself from falling by shooting his eye beams. Come on.
Well, you know, the eye beams there being the... Yeah, but I did like kind of, because I was able to get like 10 minutes of the first episode, and I did like the fact that like whatever fight scene there was, Cyclops kind of hit the ground, which pushed him back, and it kind of moved him out of the way of something and stuff. And like, it's nice to see him using. Like, I don't really care about real life physics, you know.
It's not even that. It's just a better way.
I'm not even going to complain about physics.
It's not a pole that shoots from his eyes. That's the thing. He's using it to like dash around the room. Like, I'm all for nonsense stuff. It's not a pole. It's
not a force thing.
Well, it kind of is, but the whole argument that I have with it, or I think Brian and I are on the same page of this broadly, is like, absolutely, show us Cyclops using his powers in new, interesting ways to show that he's an excellent fighter, he's a leader, he's a whatever. Like, I never really read enough of the comics over the years, like the actual comics as opposed to consuming it through television, to get a sense that Cyclops is a dickhead, which is where the world seems to have gone with him. Yeah. I've always gone like, he's cool looking and I like him and I want him to be a leader type character. I've always wanted to like him.
As a kid, like, I think one of the first times I would have seen the X-Men was maybe on that arcade video game before I saw the cartoon and everything like that. He was by far the coolest looking one every time.
Yeah. So I want to like him, and that idea that like he's like using that thing to like whip him around the place is cool. We can have awesome fight choreography. The fact is they've used Toon Boom rigs that limit them, that make it look stiff and clunky, and it's like if you had hand drawn this and trusted that studio to destroy this show,
just look at how
they'd have.
There's a scene in Korra, and there's an episode directed by, and it's directed a bunch of episodes, but it's one of the co-directors of Across the Spider-Verse, Joaquin Dos Santos. There's a scene he animates with two people that can like manipulate metal, and it's even the animatic version of that fight scene. It's probably more than animatic because it's pretty fully animated. It's just not with color. And it's superb, and like let those guys, like a show that knows how to choreograph powers and things like that. And I would have loved.
Let the artists do their work, but like they got hampered into, I guess, Toon Boomy cutout rigs, and that's what they got to use.
In terms of like being a '90s X-Men fan, the show has captured that kind of feeling. It has captured that, which is good. We should be kind of praising the things it's doing well.
So here's the question then, right? What age group do you think that this show, obviously it's pitched at the 90s fans 100%, but you know, Disney are thinking, Disney and Marvel thinking, kids, we want kids to like this. What's the age group? What age group are you saying?
It's definitely...
What age do you think the average kid is?
It's definitely the same age as the show when it was airing in the 90s, but I don't know if kids that age these days go for this type of thing. You know?
Sure, but what are we saying that is? 8 to 12?
Oh, I was pretty younger watching it, but yeah.
Yeah, around 8 to 12, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's it. Because I'm trying to look at or presuppose the business plan. It's like, right, I've got 8 to 12-year-olds. What age will they be when the movie comes out? Like, am I making a movie for 15-year-olds?
Yeah.
Like,
this
is laying the...
The movie's, further away, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say 4 or 5 years away.
I mean,
well,
look how long they were talking about Fantastic Four before we got any solid casting announcement. And that film is not out till next year or the year after.
Yeah.
Is it next year?
Next year, I think.
Yeah.
Next year.
And we only got like a cast confirmed last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the film will be dependent on how the cartoon performs and the shape the MCU takes. Because I'd imagine somewhere they were building towards an X-Men versus Avengers film.
Versus...
I think that could be fine, though. It could work.
But
done right.
It's just that you're guaranteed...
It's just now the future of...
You're just guaranteed a faux conflict. It's like, how do you... Because everybody's just got to end up friends by the end. It's like, can we just...
Well, then it's Civil War, but it's the mutants instead of splitting the Avengers. It doesn't have to be... Yeah. It doesn't have to be fully resolved. It could just be a...
Do you think it's that far away then?
I think it's a while
given
away.
That we've seen Beast and Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some X-Men in Deadpool 3, and then I think we're going to get a end to the Avengers, whether that's the Secret Wars or whatever. We're going to get them introduced in that, but we're going to get our Beast and things like that in Secret Wars. We don't get an X-Men film until after Secret Wars, I would say.
When's Secret Wars?
2026 or something, I think. I don't know.
How dead will I be when these fucking films finally come out?
Dead inside? Sure.
Oh, I'm already there. Is there anything else?
Romulus trailer?
I had a little look at that. We're still in the Aliens world. I'm kind of surprised that's still going. Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose. Is there a new Ridley Scott movie? Or did it was Napoleon, wasn't it? I have to watch Napoleon.
He's doing Gladiator 2 as well, though, isn't he?
Oh, Gladiator 2, yeah.
To
okay.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah. Did we get any other trailers?
No.
We got a teaser for The Penguin, but I didn't watch it. We have a trailer for...
More Furiosa. There's a Doctor Who trailer. Beetlejuice
trailer, that was it. I knew there was another one. I didn't see it though.
It's just a teaser. He just appears.
It's a Keaton again, yeah?
It's Keaton. Yeah, he's back. Everybody wants more money. I was kind of happy to see everyone. It's just a teaser. Who knows if the movie will do anything worthwhile? Because part of the cult classic nostalgia of that film is that's that film. You know, I don't know what other stories we need to tell in the Beetlejuice world. Hopefully it's not just him trying to get another young person to release him so that he can cause chaos, and then they get him to say his name again, or someone says his name again and he goes back. Like, that's just wheel spinning, right? We just don't want the same film again, right?
I think that's definitely what it's going to be.
So,
when you say that, but it's like, but we had like 2-3 seasons of a cartoon in the 90s where Lydia and Beetlejuice like solved supernatural adventures together. Like, can we not do something with that? Can we not like
play it super safe?
There's got to be safe. There's got to be at least 20 scripts for those TV show episodes where there was some problem and a narrative ensued that wasn't just the same as the first movie. Anyway.
Fair. Well, we'll see. Everything can rehash. And if the thing is, if you don't like any things that do now, that's okay. Just go back and watch the old stuff that you like.
Yeah, that's it as well. Like, I'm a fan of... I am a fan or an advocate for the idea that, if you don't use your properties, if you don't use your concepts, they'll fade away. People forget about them.
Yeah.
So,
fair.
Build as many outhouses as you want around the castle. The castle still remains.
Fair. Yeah, so there was just a rundown of some kind of newsy stuff I've seen. The Penguin, there was a teaser, teaser for the Penguin. We were talking about blah blah blah. Beetlejuice. James Gunn posted on Instagram an image of Deadman without further context, which will cause speculation that character will be introduced in a live action format. You had Dead Boy Detectives coming to Netflix on April 25th. There's a Popeye movie in production, and Michael Kaleo, who is a Sopranos writer, is attached to it. I haven't seen the Star Wars Acolyte promotion or trailer or whatever. I don't know anything about that project.
Star Wars Acolyte. The one thing I will say about that is, for all its talk about being set thousands of years before and being a different type of Star Wars show and being something that's going to change the direction of all of these Star Wars shows, something that's much more in the vein of Andor, you look at that trailer and it may as well be The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan, because it looks like the Disney theme park and they're walking around in the same robes. And it's like, we have Jedi, Age of the Old Republic video games and stuff where there's design for, outfits and clothes and costumes and stuff that doesn't resemble just what we saw in The Phantom Menace. So as much I feel lied to. Whatever the fuck they say is going on, I don't feel like that's going to happen in that show. I think it's just going to be another shitty Star Wars show.
Fair.
I want to like it. Prove me wrong. Andor, I was very skeptical of, and it was my favorite thing of 22? 22, 23? Go on, Brian. Are you just sleeping through the concept of Andor or Star Wars in general?
Christ. I tried so many times to watch that show.
I've only heard good things. I've not watched it.
Watch it.
Snooze fest.
Don't listen to Brian.
Skarsgård has a great monologue, and there's a good prison set episode, and the rest is fucking Yawnsville. Snooze fest.
Disagree.
Do you remember me ever talking about this?
Of course, Parasite, yes.
Would you ever shut up about it?
They animated it, which I don't know if I ever watched. I watched some of the animated version, and it follows the comic pretty closely. Probably not as good as the comic. I just saw on Netflix a couple of days ago. They're doing a live action. I don't know if it's a film or a TV show, but it looks good. They've changed.
They've done a live action already, though, but a Japanese one.
Yeah.
But are you ever doing a live action Western version?
No, Japanese. Coming to Netflix in a week or two.
I thought that was out a couple of years, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure. They've changed the main character from the female, and it looks like instead of the parasite inhabiting the hand, it looks like it's in her head. But the effect of the parasites looks properly creepy. I'm curious to see. Now the comic is great. I don't expect it to be as good as the comic, but there's a scene where they recreate that panel, but it looks like it's at some type of. It looks like it's at some type of carnival or something instead. But it just looks great. And, I only saw the trailer for it.
To be honest, I do like Japanese kind of live action takes on manga media, because quite often they remain so true. For the most part, they remain so true, at least aesthetically. The CGI might not be up there compared to some other.
It looks good. The shots that are in the trailer look good.
Yeah, because even the Full Metal Alchemist live action stuff, like the brothers look great. Particularly the tall guy in the armor. But yeah, some interesting stuff. Interesting, Brian. We'll check that out. That sounds.
I think it's out like in a week or two.
Parasites. What?
Parasite with a Y.
I'll check it out. It's a TV show or movie?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I kind of like if it was a TV show, but looks like it might be a film.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, check it out for sure.
Supposedly it inspired the T-1000.
Fair, I could see that. Is it that old, is it?
Yep.
Parasite?
Yep.
Yeah, fair. I could totally see how it inspired the likes of Carnage or Venom to a degree as well, you know?
Definitely.